What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're here with some more PGA DFS picks and lineup advice, FanDuel, DraftKings, tips, best bets, this time for the 3M Open up in Minnesota. Welcome, I'm Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy. And as the PGA season is winding down, just a couple more full field events. This will be the second to last video that we do for PGA this season. We'll close it out next week, and then once August hits, as our attention turns towards NFL preseason DFS and the events start to shrink a little bit, there will be no more PGA DFS videos. Let us know how you feel about that in the comments below. I'm sure for those of you who have been loyal viewers over the past few months, won't be big fans of that, I promise, but we'll be back maybe in the fall, but probably not until January when the new season begins. Now, if you are new here, what we normally do in these videos, we talk about the weather, how it impacts our DFS lineups this week. We analyze the course and what characteristics are important for our golfers that we choose for our DFS lineups. We'll analyze the betting markets, see what the sharp sportsbooks are telling us about the players that we need to play this week. And then we'll close out some ownership discussion, who are the most popular players expected to be, and who are some low-owned options to help us win tournaments. Now, let's get started. And I guess we'll talk about the weather first. Let's bring up Wind Finder, our trusted resource for wind, gust, direction, speed when it comes to PGA DFS. And you'll notice on Thursday that there are some gusts 15 miles per hour plus in the middle of the day, and maybe a little bit towards the end of the day too, towards 4 p.m. And then if you look on Friday, 18 mile per hour gust at 7 a.m. The earliest golfers. It really dies down once you get to about 7 p.m. It does pick up again around 7 p.m. So there's a tight window as of now, recording this early Wednesday morning, that maybe the earliest golfers Thursday a.m., Friday p.m. will get the best of the wind. However, it's not super strong winds. And again, there is a tight window here, and it is wind, right? So any bump in the forecast by an hour or two could throw off any potential wave advantage. I'm not necessarily sure I would play any wave advantages this week, stacking golfers from one set of tee times. But if there is one now, it's Thursday morning. But again, I'm not sure as of now that I would go out of my way to do it. So I think for the most part, we can let weather do its thing this week and not really affect our DFS decisions. However, as we always say, make sure you check this forecast later this evening, as close as you can to lock, to see if an edge maybe does materialize. Instead, let's talk about the course itself. Let's go to the Daily Plug, occupyfantasy.com, top plays, course breakdown, weather implications, lineup construction tips, everything you need to crush a PGA DFS slate. And if we talk about TPC Twin Cities, where this event is, I think there are a couple things that we need to realize for this event. And while, yes, it is long, 7,400 plus yards, very long course. And yes, we've seen bombers win this event in the past, like Cameron Champ, Matthew Wolff. But if you dive a little bit deeper into the stats, and you see that the penalty for missing the fairway here is massive. It's one of the top 10 most penal courses on tour for missing fairways. The score between playing out of the rough and out of the fairway has one of the 10 biggest differences on tour. And it's also top 10 in hazards, penalty strokes. You'll see with a lot of water here, tons and tons of water on this course, that any wayward shot could end up in the water and you're dropping a couple strokes. So our most important factors that we're looking at here, distance in the sense that we're looking for longer approach shots, 175 plus, 200 yards plus. Cameron Champ shines in that area, or has been decent in that area. Big reason why he won that event that year. But we're also looking for driving accuracy, fairways gained, guys who can keep it in play, and guys who avoid these really poor shots that turn into double bogeys or worse. So a lot of different ways you can capture that in a model, but really that's what we're looking at. Guys who can make birdies because the score will be low here, but guys who can also avoid the damage. Now, granted, we would love to have that every single week, of course, right? But especially so this week. So our model goes and takes all of that into account, ranks every golfer for FanDuel and DraftKings this week. And actually, the betting markets that we're about to analyze actually back up this factor as well. Now, let's go back to DraftKings here. And if you are new, what we do every single week, we look at 3 to 4 sharp sports books, depending on what's available, and we analyze golfers' odds to win from Monday all the way until up to lock. And if a golfer's odds to win have improved at every single sharp sportsbook that we monitor and track, we call them a sharp sportsbook play, an overlap play. Basically, every book that takes respectable PGA money is saying that this golfer's odds to win are better than we initially thought. And those are guys we typically want to get into our DFS lineups. Now, there are actually 5 golfers this week, and the state of the betting markets reaffirms what we already knew about this tournament, that it's wide open. Obviously, it's a weaker field. Cam Young, the most expensive guy in the field. But aside from that, we've seen, obviously, Tony Finau won last year. But when you have winners like Cameron Champ, Michael Thompson, Matthew Wolff, goes to show the wide open nature of this event. So the betting market movements have confirmed that as well. If you look at one of the sports books that we look at, nearly 40 guys, their odds to win have improved. The Sharp Sportsbook overlap play is already 5 golfers long as of Wednesday morning. Normally have a couple guys, it extends later in the evening. But as of now, again, 11 a.m. Eastern, 5 guys are on our Sharp Sportsbook overlap play list. Most have lower ownership, and I expect that list to grow as the day goes on. So let's talk about those 5 guys really quickly. Let me bring up my list here on my side. So the first guy is Chez Reavie. 7,300 on DraftKings. 7,300 is one of the first overlap plays. It's pretty crazy, right? We have cheaper guys that their odds to win have improved at every book that we track. So Chez Reavie, 7,300. He's actually top 10 in the field in approach from 175 plus, in fairways gained, in bad shots avoided. Those are the metrics I just listed as important for this course, and the markets are backing that up as well. If we go to our Occupy model, occupyfantasy.com, and we look at Chez Reavie's ownership, 8% projected ownership. So we love to see sub 10% on an overlap play. Next, we have Matthew NeSmith. Just 3% projected ownership. The model's picking up on it as well with the 74.9 OF index. Top 20 in the field in fairways gained. Top 20 in the field in bad shots avoided. There you go. Fits the characteristics that we're looking for this tournament. Next, we have Patrick Rodgers on the overlap list. 8,500 on DraftKings. 10%. Not prohibitive at all. Let's go back to DraftKings here. Let's bring up Patrick Rodgers. He is top 30 in the field in birdies gained. Again, while there are a lots of shots we need to avoid, and I say we as if we're playing in this tournament, but the golfers need to avoid, you also have to make a lot of birdies here. Patrick Rodgers, top 30 in the field in birdies made, top 30 in the field in bad shots avoided. So knows how to get it done, knows how to make birdies while avoiding those bad shots. Again, the perfect combination that we're looking for this week. Next, we have Adam Svensson, who, if you look at the last 24 rounds, last 50 rounds, even last 75 rounds, numbers don't look that great. Was a lot better in the previous season compared to this season. Was dealing with some injuries, and I attribute his appearance on this list similar to what we saw a lot last year. For those of you who read our daily plug last year and saw the Wednesday updates, maybe you watched these videos. Ricky Fowler was a guy that sharp betting groups were hammering every single week. They knew something about Ricky Fowler, that his game was going to turn around, and they wanted to be way ahead of the curve when it happened. And you've seen Ricky Fowler's results this year, and those sharp sportsbook or those sharp groups, their bets were justified on Ricky Fowler. And generally, it's because they know something. They have inside information into the camp, into the players' health, conditions, improvements that they've made. They have boots on the ground. And I have a feeling that is what's happening here with Adam Svensson, who, again, has struggled for most of the year, but he's been better of late. And so there's probably something there, an improvement in his game. Maybe his health is back to nearly 100%. And so the sharps generally know something. And if they know something that the field is not picking up on, that's something we want to play in DFS. And we go to Adam Svensson. If I can type his name in correctly, 7% projected ownership this week. Let's hope the sharps are right. We'll play a 7% guy, be on board with the sharps every single slate of the year. Finally, we have Keith Mitchell. Let's bring him up. If I can actually, I swear I can actually type. 9% projected ownership. Let's go to DraftKings. Keith Mitchell, again, one of the more expensive overlap plays this week. 8,600. Already put him in my lineup here. 8,600. He is top 20 in the field in both birdies made, top 20 in the field in ball striking, off the tee, approach shots. He is not great in bad shots avoided, which is not something you want to see on this particular course. But again, we are deferring to the sharp bettors here that are moving markets, betting thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not 6 figures on Keith Mitchell. And we're going to trust those numbers. So I would say don't be shocked that we see Keith Mitchell hit it in the water this week, but sharp bettors are not worried and they're not deterred, and they're betting Keith Mitchell to win this tournament. So we'll take that as well at 9% projected ownership. Now, 5 guys on that list As I said, I expect this list to either change or extend by this evening. So make sure you're in our Discord server, occupyfantasy.com/Discord. The link is in the description below. And I'll post the final overlap plays by 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. That way you have the latest, most up-to-date information. All right, let's see here. Before we close it out with some high-owned and some low-owned plays to win tournaments, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Get notified when we go live, upload any new videos. If you're just a PGA DFS fan, I understand. But if you're into other sports, other daily fantasy sports, we're putting out tons of content every single week, especially with football coming around the corner. So subscribing to the channel is the best way to get notified when those videos are posted. And give us a thumbs up. Again, the thumbs up helps our appearance in the YouTube algorithm. So selfishly, it helps us out. But really, it helps us out to let us know that you guys like these videos. And judging by some of the likes we've gotten on recent videos, you do like these videos. So if you continue to give these thumbs up for this video this week and the video next week, that just confirms to us that we should continue to do PGA videos in 2024. So make sure you give us that thumbs up to let us know that you think we should do that. All right, let's go back to the model. And we're going to sort by highest owned plays to lowest owned plays. Let me scroll down a little bit so you can see here. So Sung J M, 24%. Aaron Rai, 22%. So there are a couple guys here who are technically mispriced according to their betting odds. Aaron Rai and Austin Eckroat. Now, these aren't guys that you necessarily feel super comfortable playing in your lineups. But as we know, especially in these events where the fields are weaker, playing chalkier, cheaper options is not the way to go. It is not a winning GPP strategy. You're playing low risk contests, smaller contests, short. You can play Aaron Rai, you can play Austin Eckroat. But if they miss the cut at 22%, 20% respectively, that's going to really lower the 6 out of 6 percentage in GPPs, and it's going to help you. It's going to help you climb to the top of the leaderboard if you don't have those guys. So Aaron Rai, Austin Eckroat, yeah, they look good from a lot of perspectives, but if we're just playing the game theory game here, it's hard to play those guys. Whereas some of these other guys, Sung Jae, Cam Young, Tony Finau, Ludwig Aberg, more representative of their ownership, more willing to play those guys. Sepp Straka tops our model this week. He has 16% projected ownership, just went over that high-owned percentage bucket that 15% or higher is what we consider high-owned. Just got bumped up with our update this morning. But tons of guys at 15% or higher this week. And on a course, I'll just say this, on a course with a lot of hazards, in a weaker field, if there is a week to play less chalkier lineups, if there is a week to fade some of the higher owned guys, it's this week. Chaos can ensue, and it's hard to know the motivation for some of these guys. So 20% or higher, 15% or higher, those guys less willing to play this week than I would any other week. Now instead, let's talk about those 6%, 5% guys or less who can help us win tournaments. If you watch these videos, if you play GPPs, if you look at GPP winners, every single week, at least one guy under 5%, oftentimes under 2 under 5%, 2 under 5% are in the winning lineup. These guys are essential to winning the biggest prizes on FanDuel and DraftKings. Let's highlight a couple names that we haven't talked about already. So Grayson Sigg is a guy, 6%. We'll see if he creeps higher or lower. He's a guy that his odds to win, kind of like Garrick Higo, as I point out in the Daily Plug, his odds to win dropped on Sunday before we started tracking. So his odds to win actually, his movement is actually a little bit better than what the model and our other betting tracking may indicate. Sharp bettors are on Grayson Sigg this week, so at 6%, we'll take a shot there. Moving on down. And again, I'm ignoring guys that rate really favorably in the model this week because you can just sort by OF index and see the guys that stick out. Let's see here. Cameron Champ, 4%. A guy who has won this event in the past. And a lot of people are scared off. You look at their event logs, and Cam Champ has missed 10 different cuts this year. But this is a field, this is an event where you don't necessarily have to be in form to contend here. We've seen it many times over the past 4 years where you cannot be in the best form in the world and still win this event. Cam Champ, that's his career summed up in a nutshell, where he's won events, has contended in events where he's had basically zero form whatsoever. His ability to get the ball close to the hole on approach shots, on those longer approach shots, is key here. And for him to be just 4%, we'll gladly take that as well. Davis Thompson, called him out in the plug. Go read the plug if you want the details on why we like Davis Thompson this week. Nate Lashley, 2% owned, another guy that's getting hit at some sharp sports books and has a chance to be an overlap play by the end of the night. Let's keep an eye on that. Let's keep moving here. Ryan Gerard. If we're looking at courses, Ryan Gerard, by the way, just 2%. Courses that are kind of similar, where they have a lot of water hazards, a little bit tougher, but can still score. Ryan Gerard finished 5th at the Honda Classic, top 5 at the Honda Classic earlier this season. Younger guy, getting acclimated on tour. And if we put any faith in comp courses, then the 3M Open is going to look a lot like the Honda Classic. And Gerard at 2%, we'll love to see that if we get him into our lineups. Any other guys we want to talk about here? Let me go a little bit lower. I would have to talk about Eric Van Rooyen, who when I started playing PGA DFS a few years ago and started playing heavily in 2020, had a ton of exposure to EVR at this particular course. He was lower owned. He must have hit the water, and maybe it feels this way because while I was tracking him. It probably wasn't actually this much, but it felt like he hit it in the water 50 times over the course of the first 2 rounds. So definitely some PTSD when it comes to rostering EVR in this event. But I am a glutton for punishment, and we will be playing him at 1% ownership as well after a nice little run at the Barracuda last week. Let's see if EVR can keep it going and just keep it out of the water, please, dude. Please, just keep it out of the water. Not too much to ask. I think that's it. Those are the guys that we're willing to discuss on stream. Yeah, so check out the plug, check out the model for other lower owned guys, and make sure you're in our Discord tonight for the final Sharp Sportsbook overlap plays. And if you have any questions, comment on the video below. Discord is the best way, obviously, but we can always monitor the YouTube channel, and we'll happily answer any questions that you have. Give us your predictions. We always love to see your predictions. Call them out on the following week's video if you're correct. So drop your prediction for this event. Any takes that you have, any bold stances, let us know. And again, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give us that thumbs up. So Brian Jester for Occupy Fantasy. Make sure you check out all the content at occupyfantasy.com, including our lineup builder, which allows you to build up to 300 PGA DFS lineups using our Occupy model values. I think that's it. So thanks for listening and good luck at the 3M Open.